Holla ballers and welcome back to Story Mode Expedition 33. All our side mission shenanigans are done with for now, and it was time to just plow on with the story. Oh boy, many revelations were made this day, many revelations. It might look like the transmog's been downgraded. It actually hasn't. It's been upgraded to include Alicia's mask, but I think that might be a bit much for the TDP. I was right on the cusp. I've been working through the level with Serene, one of the two Axons. Now, I was warned in a cutscene that there are two of these. I think they're Axums, and there's three of them, which now makes a lot more sense as to why there's three. And one of them is much weaker. I'd forgotten. By the time we'd done all the side missions, I was like, whatever. I don't know which one's which. And was at Serene. Or it's a French pronunciation. Forgive me my words. This was really interesting because I got baited with some choices. I will point out my save was corrupt, which was a little scary, but praise be to Expedition 33. Although it won't show you your current, your other saves on the main screen, it'll show you most recent one. There is a button there that's like, do you want to check previous saves? So I wonder if they knew there's a potential issue for a corrupt save or something like that, and it saves every few minutes. So I managed to load a save that was only a couple of minutes before my main save. So GG's to the devs there. That was a really good move. I worked my way through this level. I actually thought from my previous play session I was kind of near the end of this level because we were very close to Serene dancing, but that was not true. There was a huge portion of this level left where I encountered some kind of weaver that was ignoring me. It was weaving something for the boss. So my monkey brain went into overdrive here. It's like, either this is just something you can kill to make the boss easier, or this is in relation to the Nevrons that are passive that we haven't done any damage to so far through the playthrough. I don't know whether that has some sort of effect on the ending or whatever. So you can fight it. And I was like, I was really presented with a choice. Like, I don't know if I'm missing out on a really cool fight here, or if I'm just nerfing the end fight, or if this is in relation to the passive Nevrons. So I was like, all right, I'm going to leave it alone. I left it alone and worked my way through this level where we got to the Serene fight. This was a nice fight. It had one attack that I found horrible, and apparently this has become quite a big community meme. I'm not talking about my community, I'm talking about the Expedition 33 community, who have played the game and are more than aware, if you've played this game, of how tricky they get with trying to mess you up. Certainly if you are parry focused, right? More and more people have figured out ways of playing the game without ever having to parry or dodge at all. You can tank everything. Or dodge gives you a better window. But like this one, it has like 5 attacks from a grand ballet. And the first 2 have a sound effect that goes with the parry because they float down. So there's so many different ways of baiting attacks. Like Souls games have done this forever. It'll be very slow and then the attack is very quick. But they've been very good about putting like a sound effect like a ping or a swipe or something like that. It's like, okay, that times up with the parry. So the first 2 do that. The third one is then delayed. So your rhythm of like parry needs to stop and you need to wait. And the third one works with that. And there's a very, very quick fourth one. And then there's a huge delay where the sound effect happens before the attack, like by a long way. And they're like, oh my God, like this is just messing me. And it messed me up every time. And it's 5 attacks. With my 0 HP build, yeah, any of those go through, we're in trouble. We're in big trouble, which caused me to die on this, I don't know, 4 times. That one attack killed me 4 times, I think, something like that on this fight. But overall, absolutely glorious. Had this, like, I would say for both of the Axon fights, a very FF14, FF16 style. These grand, giant bosses that have really slick, smooth animations that go with it, like just a spectacle to behold. Really, really nice. Brought down Serene and got her weave, which we took back to Omega Lull with us in the camp, and it was like, okay, we need one more. And then had a huge camp session. So I finally discovered that doing the relationship building with everybody in the camp unlocks more gradient attacks, your limit breaks, essentially. It unlocks more of those. It's like, oh, okay.
Oui? How come you're not grumpy like Francois?
I am grumpy.
Oh, are you now?
I too am. But I'm also wee. so the wee balances the...
Yeah, that's karmic, dude. You like it. Got his yin-yang in place. Sounds like you're in a woo-wee type situation.
Sounds like you're in a woo-wee type situation.
You really get me, Verso.
I think we're both a little, woo-wee. Wee-woo.
2 wees back to back. That was a good day.
Although I'm a bit more woo than wee these days.
Huh.
Hey, that one looks a little like Minoko.
Oh, and if you squint and sort of scrunch up your face, that one next to it looks like Noko.
Who's Noko? Oh no! Oh, motherfucker. Oh, god damn it. Okay. Well, okay, let's consider who's on the bench and not worthy talking to.
You thought we'd never find out, didn't you? Nobody ever wondered what Esquier was made of, did they? Well, Esquier and I had a chat.
I'm sorry, Verso. She promised me sweet
What?
rocks.
Is that wine?
Don't drink the vomit.
I, stored my personal stash inside him.
Don't drink the wine vomit.
I don't normally share, but I suppose tonight deserves an exception.
Please don't.
Mon ami. I told you to stop drinking alone.
Please do not put that in your mouth. I beg of you.
To your great generosity.
No, I'm not looking at that. That's fucked. Now, it is not... This has actually really upset some people, and I don't want to get into a whole tirade about streamer isn't reacting how I want him to react stuff. I don't care about that. I'm going to react honestly and truthfully, and that's the way it is. And I really dislike these relationship sections, but I want to explain why, because some people are like, oh no, story in my RPG, That's not the thing. I love the story of the game. My issue with it is it's very, very long and laborious, and it really disrupts the gameplay. You can be there for like 30 minutes of individual little cutscenes, which are then followed by another overall cutscene to keep the story moving, and then writing in the journal. There's a lot to do there that gives you very, very little snippets of information sometimes. But sometimes it just doesn't. It's just a bit of a jovial encounter between the two. My personal suggestion is, like, I don't dislike the relationship building element of discovering more about the individual characters. I just don't like that it's very front loaded. So you're just there. It's like, okay, now I've got to do like 5 of these, and they take a while. And there's also no auto function to just let the scene play out. You have to click individually for each and every single one. I would have loved these to have been just paced out a little differently. That's it. Like, the actual content of it, don't mind at all. Paced out a little differently. So maybe it happens out in the open world, you know, more of the passive talk that's happening. Or there's a couple of them just spread out little moments that could have just, like, just that's it. Just spread it out a little bit more instead of like, oh, we're going back to camp, and then it's like heavily loaded. It also didn't help that apparently I'd missed one at some point, so I had to double up, which meant I was there for a really long time. And by that point, I'm kind of zoning out a little bit of what's going on. Despite the fact the scenes are very fun, very interesting, there's just so many of them. It reminds me a lot of some of the more laborious FF14 cutscenes, where it's not like a gripping MSQ moment. It's a little bit of side stuff with characters that aren't, you know, I'm talking about FF14 here, that are characters that aren't super relevant. It's not pushing the main story forward, and it lasts a very, very long time. And it gets that kind of feeling from me where I'm like, all right, we're doing wine collecting and stuff. Like, this isn't uber relevant. It's a little bit relevant, but it's not the big stuff. So that's just a little criticism I have. It's just I would like them to have been paced out a little differently, or take place out in like certain maps, things like that, where you're like, oh, there's a relationship moment happening here, like something to look forward to, instead of a big chunk of gameplay come to stop while we do this. So did all that and unlocked my new gradient attacks, and then it was time to find the second one because I had nothing else to do side content wise. I went to see Visage. Again, people might be mad about this because Visage is the one you're supposed to fight first, for sure. Visage I one-banged, and I think I'm trying to remember because it happened so quickly. I don't think Visage got a single attack on me. I was able to like break it, chain break it in my moves that my characters had and just lock it down. I don't think it did a single attack, which was a shame because it was a very interesting zone for sure. Now, this has brought up a lot of conversation about scaling and stuff. I am fine with this happening, and I do not want scaling in the game. Like, it was me going to the wrong one first. I did a load of side content. This is relevant. This is the way it's supposed to be, and it's okay. Like, I didn't have a problem with it. Other people did, because they're like, it's too powerful, it's too strong. Despite the fact this was the only zone, and I want to be clear on this, this was the only zone, the only boss in the entire game that we've overgeared. That's it. It was just this one, and people were really upset. It's like, oh no, it's too strong, too powerful. They need to scale the game. They need to change the whole game because of this one zone. Like, no, not at all. It's totally fine that this is the way it goes. And if I played again, I would come to Visage first, and the game did tell me to go to Visage first. I just bumped into Serene. I didn't even know that was MSQ. I was just exploring cool areas. That's it. That's how I found Serene. So it's totally okay. It was a very visceral reaction from a lot of people. It's like, oh, he's too strong, he's too powerful. It's okay. It's totally fine. The whole game doesn't need to change on that, and I personally don't want scaling. If they were to introduce a mode where you can choose to scale the world, fine. I wouldn't use it. It's totally fine to go and do a lot of extra super hard stuff, which is what I've done, and then be a bit strong for main story stuff that's designed for everybody. I think that's totally cool. So against Visage, the biggest revelation here actually is that the Axons are actually the children of the Paintress, which are in fact Verso, Alicia, and the older sister, who is the Axon that we can't access. She lives somewhere up in the mountains, is what was mentioned there. But they had some wonderful cutscenes, or little side things where you see memories of Mother, the Paintress, teaching like Verso to play piano. And there was a lot of little references to going to Verso's bedroom in the mansion. So the whole family here, which it did give the surname of the family, I think it was Dundare, something like that, have caused or are the focal singularity of whatever has happened here. And by defeating Mother, the Paintress, that is going to kill everything, including them, which makes more sense as to Renoir's story. So at some point we're going to fight the older sister. I have no doubt that is going to be one of the end game mega bosses that's coming up here. But it was nice. We got to see the fire. The main focal point is definitely the fire.
Oh, I thought it was going to be like Alicia. She sat on fire. They're all doing it. Or did they all die in the fire?
Everybody okay?
So we're definitely getting this vibe of this major horrific incident happened. There was a big fire. Alicia got burned. And the mothers fall into despair at this. And Renoir, being an absent father, wasn't there, didn't come into their lives until much later. Something was happening. Remember, I was away for some reason, and now the whole family just degraded and became completely dysfunctional in some fashion following this major fire. That's the current vibe I'm getting right now. How it relates to the monolith, the destruction of the world, don't know that yet. But I did like that essentially we were dealing with those versions of them. At least that's what I'm getting from it. That could be way wrong, but I mean, all signs point to that's what was happening. All the clues are there. Verso's piano playing, leading to his bedroom with the piano in it, leading to Visage having these memories of and wearing the masks and all this kind of stuff. And Verso is always wearing a mask because he knows way more about what's going on than he's letting on to us. All those elements make a lot of sense. I like that it's not too on the nose, especially the next part. So as I worked through, I actually got once we defeated Visage, we got access to the monolith. Wow, this zone, I guess is the best way to describe this. This zone was pretty extraordinary in size. Not just content, but size. So it was an amalgamation of all the major main story zones in the game, all blended together into one, where you revisited every enemy of the game, but all with new stuff. I noticed Monaco was picking up many more new feats. I should point out here, I think it's a little sidestep here, is I have picked up some extraordinarily powerful Pictos at this point. I've actually, given what happened with Visage, I have stopped sort of upgrading my characters a little bit because I'm very strong right now, and I don't want it to be too strong if I can, you know, avoid it in some way. But I picked up some Pictos which are just disgustingly powerful, like massive damage multipliers on top of damage multipliers. Given that we are hitting the 10k cap all the time, it's not too big of a deal right now, but good God, I could make some absolutely dirty builds right now. Especially with auto deaths and things like that. I can't wait. I've said this a few times. I cannot wait till post-game where we're going to mess around with so many different builds and come up with some crazy things. I'd be really interested to see what the community has made. I'll open myself up to see what the community has built on the back of these, because there's some nutty builds out there that are definitely possible right now. And I was like, I'm not going to upgrade them right now. I'm just having Monaco level them all so we can mess around with them later. I also don't think I even remotely have enough Lumina to try and make some of the more insane builds that are possible. But we probably will later on. Definitely aware of that. But working through this zone was really nice. A good reminiscent of a lot of things. I'm going to point out a little thing that I didn't like, actually. I thought was a bit mean. There are periodically these, like, glowing, like, half-spherical loot chests that you have to shoot 3 adjoining, sort of, like, similar-looking orbs around the area. They're usually pretty close to it to unlock it. In the last zone, there is one of these things with 2 very obvious orbs, and then one that you physically cannot get. But they didn't make that abundantly clear that where it is and where you can't get it. You can hear it. I actually, within the first 30 seconds of looking for this thing, I actually vocally suggested, like, I wonder if it's behind this rock. So periodically I find these rocks with I would call it a breakable animation on it, because it's similar to the rocks that SK breaks out in the open world, but they're in the maps. And it's not the first time we've bumped into these things. And the suggestion is, at some point you will be able to break these. But they've put one of them behind here, and you can't see it. It's buried inside it. You can kind of hear a noise in a very specific area if you're really listening. I just think that's stupid. The amount of people... I looked around for the third one for a good 20 minutes, maybe, until, like, I was like, help me, and people were like, yeah, you just can't get it. You physically can't get it. I think that's just really silly. I know it's not a big deal, but more and more people in my chat were like, yeah, I looked for this for over an hour. Like, I ended up Googling it, because nothing else in the game is like this in any way, and they didn't make it clear like other games have. There are many games that have you revisit old areas to get something later. That's very normal, but usually they lock it away in a way that the player can see it and also be aware that, oh, that's blocked right now. Okay. I know to come back here later. I'm not wasting my time doing laps of an area looking for this thing unless I hear a very specific tone if I go and stand in a very specific place. That kind of design, I'm like, make it clear. Make it clear to the player so they're not just wasting their time and maybe having to Google it, or maybe just having to push on and just feel like, couldn't find it. And then come back later and go, oh, right, it was behind there, right? You're not going to get that payoff for that. Like, having it reasonably clear would have been nice. Either way, we get to the big showdown. Renoir 2.
You.
We're taking her down.
She's not the only one who grieves. The pain of losing you, she made me inherit it. Punishment, perhaps, for not being there when it mattered. I refuse to lose my son.
That son was a stranger.
But you're not. You're not.
You lost me years ago, and I lost you.
So you leave us no choice. Tell me, how are you different from her in doing this?
I'm tired.
So trust me. We are your family.
Family is complicated.
If saving you means losing you, then so be it.
We only need to incapacitate him.
We'll find a way to kill him.
When's Versa going to spill the beans on this whole thing?
Both the Renoir fights are my favorite fights in this game so far. Renoir 1 and Renoir 2 are by far and away my favorite fights in the game. Because he has so many attacks. It's actually kind of like weird if he backs to the same attack twice. You have to see a lot of attacks here to get the rhythm and cadence of these fights, especially considering he brings in Bleeding Sith, shows up midway through to start chomping on you as well. The giant lion also joins the fight at half health and heals him to full and resets the fight. And that brings in a whole number of different attacks. But more importantly, the fun of this fight, because it's so cheeky, is nearly every single one of his attacks is a weird bait. Every single one of them. Like, it's actually just really funny when you're fighting it. It's like, that is just such a jerk move. And you just feel like... It actually reminds me more of Monster Hunter, where you're angry at the mob for what it's doing rather than the devs for making it. Because Renoir is just a jerk. Nearly every single string of attacks he does has some bizarre overbait swing. Especially his Harry Potter wand swing, where he's like, whoo, 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 and he's not doing anything, and then he goes, hada! And then he goes, right, now a backflip. Spin him one of these. And Wingardium Leviosa. And then he goes, ha-ha. And then he spins around as one. And you're just like, dude, what in the hell are you even doing? Like, who would fight like this? Like, you're such a criminal. And they do it with the wolf as well. Or the lion. He's got like a tail swipe, which is a gradient parry. Where they do the whole gradient animation and like... which works for like 9 out of 10, and it's like, that is absolutely not when you press the button like at all in any way. It's actually like way later when the dog does a backflip. And it's like, then you press it. Like, as the animation's finishing, you press it over here, and then it works. And he has the nastiest attack in the world. I don't know if Bex can find this clip, but he can delete you from the fight, which is not the first time we've seen that. But he can chain that attack, and it's so weird to parry. Like, once I figured it out, I was like, okay, it is nothing to do with sound effects. It is a parry into a gradient parry, and you have to get it just based on the animation of his arm and his second swing with it that follows it up almost immediately. But I had him do this while I was learning this attack to get it right, because it goes... Nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. It's just watch the arm. And I'm like, okay, but I didn't do that at first. I was following sound cues. Is he back-to-back 4 times? He like deleted... I think he deleted Lune. Then he deleted Monaco. Then he deleted Verso, which wiped the team, which then sent the B team in. And then I think he deleted CL. He was just like back-to-backing it. I'm like, you're such a jerk, right? It's such a jerk move, because that you can never get them back. Once they get deleted from the game, they're just gone. Like, completely. I'm like, that is so rude that you could do that not only more than once, so you can delete the whole team and leave someone on their own, but also it's RNG, whether he'll send those attacks. And he did 4 in a row. What an absolute pain in the butt. But funny. Like, I enjoy it. Like, it was a fun fight. I was like, oh, I'm going to wreck this dude. I'm going to wreck him so hard. And I did. Renoir 2 was defeated. But amongst this, lots of revelations. Typically, I'd like to play the full cutscene now for you guys to understand it. But it's very long. And also, we can kind of discuss the points. There's a moment here before the fight with Renoir talking to Verso about, you're selfishly not only killing us in terms of the Renoir family, but you're killing them as well, which are the people bringing him along. So there's a very clear indication that what Verso's motivations are entirely selfish, and he's fully aware of the fact that completing the mission against the Paintress is not only going to end his life, which he wants, he's tired and he's done, but it's going to end the life of everybody. Which clearly points out that this entire world that we occupy is just a painting, an imaginary area created by the mother to preserve the family, or her good times, or to protect her emotional self, something like that. We played a game called Rhyme a few years ago, which this is feeling very much like Rhyme. We are inside her trauma, essentially, which is a lovely way of expressing the thoughts and processes that go through trauma, because that's so historically documented, and having that represented in an artistic way is really nice. And Renoir doesn't want that, which is also understandable. I actually feel a bit more sympathy for Renoir. It's like, he doesn't want to lose his daughter, his wife, his son, and other daughter. Doesn't want to lose them, of course. And maybe only lost them once. And Verso is like, no, we're done. This is not right, and people are suffering. What this actually means is whether this whole world just disappears, or whether we are just in a painting itself. Are we trapped in a painting in a sort of Doctor Who fashion where people get trapped into paintings? Are we in that kind of style? But then following Renoir, we get another revelation, which I might be wrong on this, because maybe it is my monkey brain again not interpreting it incorrectly, because this is where we'll stop for the day. Because we ran out of time, and I think the next room is against the Paintress, so we're about to finish the game, I think. Unless there's, like, Act 3, which there might be. Is Omega Lol shows up, and Renoir says, while talking to Omega Lol, why would you want this? She, referring to Mael is the last part of your son. Which indicates to me, as the way I interpreted it, is Omega Lol is Mael's grandfather. And who is her father? Because we get a very sort of memory look at Mael's parents. She has a memory of them. And there's a lot of the story relating to her parents and her feeling abandoned. They didn't want her and she was a mistake. And Verso says, did they name you? Is that where does your name come from your birth parents? And she says, yes. She believes she was unwanted because the gommage was about to hit them. They didn't want a baby just before they were going to get gommaged. But he's like, well, they named you Princess. That's a loving name. Like, I don't think they didn't want you. And then we get more clues to the parents as to what's going on. I don't know exactly how this all fits together, but it does definitely pointed to me that Omegalol was Mael's grandfather from that one line, which I may have interpreted wrong. I'm prepared for that. But it all leads back to, is this the fading memories of the paintress of the people she knew in Lumiere? And the countdown is them fading away and the memories disappearing, which fits in with everybody else fading away and not really understanding. Is that the mistress was once happy and now she's obviously traumatized given to what happened to her family and her love for her children. And now it's just disappearing and walking away. Because we did fight, quote-unquote, fight the paintress when we got to the monolith. I'm jumping around a little bit. This was much earlier. I actually chose, because she never stood up, she didn't like start a fight where she was looking at me and kill me, she just sat in sort of melancholy, is I just skipped all my turns, and it just said the paintress doesn't react, and I was like, wait a minute, we might have discovered something here. What if we just don't attack her? What if we try and communicate with her? I think this was just scripted though, because eventually a cutscene just played saying, oh, we can't hurt her, as if I had attacked her, and I was like, oh, okay. But she's ignoring us. She's like, she doesn't want to hurt us. I'm very excited for the conclusion of this because there's a lot going on with these families. A lot of people want my current theories, but my current theory about what's happening is I do believe we are just in a painting. I think we are in the traumatized mind of the mother. Whether we're physically in a painting or we're just the almost like comatose imaginings and wanderings of a burnt mind due to just complete trauma with her family, but we're like self-aware and she's just observing us and she's trying to preserve this life that was lost, and the world itself is that with a count. How that relates to a countdown, I don't know. Or if we are the seedlings essentially of the mother, as in the mother of the universe, counting down to the next rebirth of that. Maybe that's too grand, maybe that's too big, but it's my sci-fi head is leaning that way. Either way, I'm very much just like, I'm double happy. One, we're going to get some answers to this, and then two, we're going to go into Endgame where we're going to have some crazy things. As you can see, I've really been thinking about it a lot, but I'm using the bits and pieces of information we got. I don't know if I'm legendary ringing myself, and it's just going to be like, well, I mean, kind of, but not quite. We'll see. All right, but that's what we're up to, so I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.